Hey everybody, welcome to the Addiction Unlimited podcast, where you get to learn everything you want to know about addiction and recovery. I'm your host, Angela Pugh, co-founder of Kansas City Recovery, life coach, and recovering alcoholic. To learn more about me, you can listen to episode 0 on your podcast app or find us on the web at addictionunlimited.com. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Addiction Unlimited, where we talk about what comes after sobriety and how to build your unlimited life. Today, we're talking about something that might be confusing for you. Maybe this is a thought process that trips you up or makes you uncomfortable. Good. That means you're in the right place. And listen, here's the truth. I've been sober almost 20 years, right? January 7th, 2026, I'll be 20 years sober. And I am not drinking between now and then. I've no desire to drink. You could not pay me $1 million to drink. I hate that shit. It's evil. It does not have my best interests at heart, and I want no fucking part of it, okay? But after 20 years sober, I'm still an alcoholic. I would not drink any more rationally today than I did 20 years ago. And today I want to talk about all the ways that is apparent in my everyday behavior so your brain doesn't talk you into believing you're cured. I still overdo things. I still overthink. I still want more of everything. So if you've ever wondered, maybe I could drink again now that I've been sober a while, maybe I could control it now, could I handle it differently now? Then this episode is for you. Because here's what nobody tells you when you get sober. Time doesn't cure addiction. There is no cure. We think if we stack enough years, we check enough boxes, we build enough success that somehow we'll earn our way back to normalcy, that we'll become people who can have just one. But that's not how it works. And if you're even thinking about drinking again, if you are mentally negotiating, fantasizing, justifying, then you're proving my point for me, because non-addicted people would never even think about alcohol enough to negotiate, fantasize, or justify. That's addiction talking. So today I'm going to walk you through some of the personality traits that are great indicators that you can't drink any more normally today than you could the day you stopped. The ones that don't disappear just because the bottle does. And I'm going to show you why recognizing them is the most important thing you can do to protect your sobriety. So let's get into this. And we're going to start with trait 1, the more mentality. Okay. This is the big one. Anything I like, I want more of. Food, shopping, isolation, attention, work, scrolling, relationships. If it feels good, I want to consume it until it doesn't feel good anymore. Period. The same part of me that used to binge drinks is still binging something. For me right now, it's work. I can throw myself into productivity like it's a substance. I can use busyness to avoid feelings just as effectively as I once used alcohol. And here's the thing. In sobriety, we celebrate some of this, right? Look how driven I am. Look how committed. But if you're honest with yourself, you know the difference between ambition and compulsion, right? You know when you're using something to run. So ask yourself, what's your more? Is it the gym? Is it sugar? Is it control over your routine, your kids, your partner? Is it Netflix binges or online shopping or saying yes to every social event so you never have to be alone with your thoughts? I always say, I only know how to go too far, right? Because too far is what feels really good to my brain. The normal level of good doesn't register in an addicted brain. I need it to be more, bigger, more exciting, more of all the things. And seeing that in myself throughout my everyday life is one of the biggest things that allows me to understand I still, to this day, would not have the ability to use alcohol in a healthy way. Part of this, too, is that those of us with a problem use alcohol for the effect. We use it to feel different. Non-addicted people don't do that. In fact, when they start to feel effects of alcohol is exactly when they stop. I know they're super fucking weird, but that's how they do it. Even 20 years in, I'm smart enough to know I'm not one of those people. I'm not stopping when I feel it, right? That is not how I drink. And that to me is not the purpose of drinking. I drink for the effect. That's why I have a problem. Okay. Trait number 2 is the ruminator overthinker. This is a personal demon for sure. Mental loops, obsessing, replaying conversations from 3 days ago, spinning stories about what someone really meant when they said that thing. I can take a 5-second interaction and turn it into a 3-hour internal investigation. Last month, someone made a passing comment about my business. It wasn't even negative. It wasn't even somebody I knew that well. It was just a neutral comment. And I spiraled. I questioned my strategy, my messaging, my worth. I rewrote entire conversations in my head that never even happened. And here's what I realized. Rumination is emotional avoidance, right? It's a control mechanism. If I can think about it enough, analyze it enough, predict it enough, maybe I can control the outcome. Maybe I can protect myself from feeling rejected or wrong or not enough. But that's the same thing I used to do with drinking. Control the discomfort, manage the feelings, stay one step ahead of the pain. The difference now is I catch it, not every time, but most of the time. You can turn that obsession into reflection, but only if you catch it. Because if you're ruminating about whether you could drink again, you're not problem solving. You're avoiding the real question, which is, why do I want to escape right now? When you crave a drink, you're not craving a drink. You're craving relief. You want to change how you feel. Okay, number 3, feeling less than or insecure. Even with years of sobriety, even with a business and family and accomplishments, there's always this nagging voice of not being enough. You're not there yet. Everyone else has it more together. I see someone else's success, and my first thought is, wow, that's incredible. I'm so happy for them. And then it immediately turns to comparison and scarcity. And what's wrong with me? Why am I not there yet? How come I haven't gotten that far yet? Why can't I do it? And I've built a life I'm really proud of. And some days I still feel like I'm fucking it all up. This is the same pain that used to drive my drinking. That insecurity, that internal less than. It didn't go away when I got sober. It just looks different now and shows up in my business and relationships and my recovery. But here's what sobriety does give you. It gives you the tools to lead yourself through it instead of needing to escape it. You don't have to fix it and be perfect. You just have to stop letting it make your decisions. Because if you're thinking about drinking to feel more confident, more relaxed, more normal, you're feeding the lie that alcohol was the solution. And it wasn't. And it still isn't. Okay, number 4, this is one of my favorites. This extraness, intensity, right? This is kind of on the same tip as more in a certain way. And I see this in so many areas of my life, and it makes me laugh. And it gives me new things to be aware of and soften, right? New things to work on. For example, I was always a person who needed the largest size drink. And I know this is an alcoholic thing because I sit in AA rooms. I've been to AA all over the world. I've been sitting in those rooms for 20 years. And you look around the room and everybody, they've got the largest soft drink, the most gigantic water cup. I even saw a kid a couple of months ago walking with a 2-liter bottle of soda, like the whole 2-liter bottle. I'm like, damn, dude, go for it. If that's what you need. I always have to have the biggest. I'm either having none or I'm having the largest, right? And this is funny. One of my brothers, I have a lot of them, but one of them is seriously like the most normal human being I've ever met. Like this dude is so chill, laid back, patient. He's one of the kindest people I've ever known. He doesn't need anything. He's just a nice, happy dude. He's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. So we'll go get coffee, right? Which he never needs coffee because he never needs anything. But if my sister-in-law wants coffee and I always want a coffee, we'll hit the coffee shop. And this dude is like getting the smallest coffee they have. It's like 8 ounces or something. And I'm looking at him and I'm looking at this little baby coffee and I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with that thing? That's like a shot. It's going to be gone in 3 minutes, right? That's how my addict brain thinks. I have to have the biggest one because just like I was with alcohol, I don't want to run out. Now, I have outgrown this. I can. I do have the ability to get a smaller coffee now, but it just happened literally in the last year. So I'll give you another quick example of extra, being a little extra. Again, my baby brother, during quarantine, he lived in Colorado. So me and my mom would drive out there and stay with them. And my nephew was just a baby then. So it was super fun. And when you come in the back door of their house, there's a mat for everyone to take their shoes off. Because I guess civilized people like you take your shoes off when you come in the house. Of course, I don't know anything about that because I'm feral. I was never domesticated. So you come in my house, you can do whatever you want. But you come in, everybody has a pair of shoes there. And then there's me, Auntie. Auntie doesn't have one pair of shoes on the mat like everybody else. Auntie has 3 or 4 pairs of shoes on the mat because I'm extra. I don't know why. Why can't I just wear 1 pair of shoes when I would take my dog out? I don't know. I just don't. I need more. I need options. I need to have control of which shoes I'm going to wear each time because I don't know how I'm going to feel in that moment. And I need options, right? Extra. Everybody else got 1 pair of shoes. I got 4. Everybody else is refilling their water cup like 2 times a day, 3 times a day. I'm filling my water cup every 45 minutes all day long. Like I'm just a little more than the average person. And here's one I've been noticing recently too. Like every time I leave my house, my brain tells me I need something. I recognize this one from hanging out with my baby brother too, because that guy doesn't need anything. He is so stable internally that he doesn't ever seek anything external to change how he feels. You see the key there? With an addict brain, the natural response to life is to find something external to manipulate how I feel. So every time I go somewhere, I need something. My brain is, we need to stop at Target and pick up this thing or that thing. I need to stop for a coffee or stop at a different place for this kind of drink or stop somewhere else, or I need to pop in the store and grab this. Like it's a never ending need for something. And I'm actively working on this right now, partially because it's fucking up my budget, because I'm spending a little here and a little there, and that shit adds up day after day. And also because I don't need all that shit. I just don't. And I'm burned out on this constant chatter of get this, get that, stop here, grab one of these. I'm just tired. It's just another way that I get out of control that is working against me and my goals. And I have enough money issues. I don't need any more. And I tell myself, oh, it's only $20. But when you tell yourself it's only $20 4,000 times a week, that's a problem. And I'm just tired of myself. I tell my clients this all the time. Some of your best and most powerful growth comes from that place when you just get so tired of your own shit that you just can't take it anymore. That's when you really change. And listen, I spent years trying to hide myself and my extraness. I always knew I wasn't like everybody else. I've never been like everybody else. And feeling all of that internal less than and not good enough and different, I tried to make myself someone else just so people would like me. On dates, I would hide how smart I am so boys wouldn't feel intimidated. When I was young, I was a really great pool player, and I beat this boy in pool once and he never spoke to me again. So I stopped playing pool. With friends, I would hide my dreams and ambition because I was always a big thinker and they wouldn't understand or support me. In my family, I would struggle to just show up and be as chill as possible just to not freak them out too much because they're very normal Midwestern people and I was rocking heels and a feather boa to dinner. I was never like everybody else. I spent a vast majority of my life minimizing myself just to be loved. And these are the internal things that don't disappear just because you quit drinking. These are the emotional drivers that lead us to seek a substance to change how we feel. That's the point of this episode. To recognize that drinking isn't about drinking. Alcohol is what we used as a coping mechanism. And while all of these things are happening under the surface, largely subconsciously, by the way, there's very little of this that you're aware of while it's happening. But these are the indicators for me that I wouldn't drink any more normally today than I did 20 years ago. Because I'm still compulsive. I struggle to maintain healthy relationships with food, sugar, relationships, shopping, isolation, avoidance. I overdo all the things. So I know I would still overdo alcohol too. And that leads me to the next one that might kind of surprise you. Avoidance and procrastination. Addicts avoid. We avoid hard conversations. We avoid discomfort. We avoid feelings that don't have easy answers. And in sobriety, we just find new ways to do it. For me, again, it's shopping, scrolling. It's reorganizing my office instead of making the phone call I've been putting off, right? It's binging a show instead of dealing with what I'm actually feeling. I remember a few months ago, I had an uncomfortable situation with someone I love, and I'm okay with uncomfortable situations, right? I'm a communicator. I can get us through any conversation without getting upset or things going off the rails. I do not fear conversation. And I want to fix it. I'm a fixer. I fix people and their lives and situations for a living. So I want to fix it and make everyone feel better. Unfortunately, the other person doesn't have that same level of emotional maturity or comfort. So the struggle for me was being patient. I want to have the conversation and fix things right now so we can all feel better and not be uncomfortable. But I didn't have any control over when the other person would be ready to talk about it. And that is very uncomfortable for me. Actually, it pisses me off because I want to fix it and feel better. So next thing I know, I go online, I buy 3 things, deep clean my kitchen, watch 4 episodes of something I didn't even like because I was avoiding and I didn't even recognize it at first because it didn't look like my old avoidance, right? It looked productive, responsible even. I'm cleaning, I'm doing things, right? But avoidance is avoidance, whether it's in a bottle or a shopping cart. And if you're avoiding something right now, a feeling, a truth, a decision, then you're vulnerable. And that's your sign to re-engage, not relapse. Re-engage in the healthy actions to keep you sober. So here's where I land with all of this. None of these traits make me bad, and they don't make you bad either. They're just parts of the personality that's directly related to how my brain is wired that makes me more vulnerable to addiction. And this is how I know I'm still an alcoholic, and I still can't drink like a normal person, even after 20 years sober. I haven't had a drink, but I've had plenty of moments where I've misused food, control, work, my thoughts. Those patterns are the proof. And if you're sitting here wondering, could I handle drinking now? Could I be different this time? The answer is already in front of you. Look at how you operate today. Look at where you overdo, avoid, obsess, or feel less than. Those traits are your proof. Those things tell you that alcohol will manipulate you again if you give it the opportunity, because you will still use it as your solution to your feelings and discomforts. You're not wondering if you can drink. You're wondering if you can escape yourself. And here is maybe the biggest indicator of all, one that should end any debate about whether you can drink again. And this is just how much mental real estate alcohol takes up in your brain. Think about it. Normal drinkers don't think about alcohol like this. They don't wonder if they can drink. They don't play out scenarios in their head about when and how they can moderate. They don't plan the next opportunity or strategize different ways to control it. They don't spend time being mad about not drinking. They don't grieve alcohol like it's a lost love. They don't watch other people drink with that mix of longing and resentment. They don't scroll through social media looking at drinking activities and feel something twist in their chest. Normal drinkers just drink sometimes or they don't. It doesn't occupy their thoughts. But you and me, we think about it. Even when we're not actively wanting to drink, we think about drinking or not drinking, or how unfair it is that we can't drink, or wondering if maybe possibly someday we could drink. And that right there, that obsession, that constant mental negotiation, that's not normal. That's addiction. The amount of time and energy you spend thinking about alcohol is the biggest indicator that your relationship with it is past the point of no return. Normal people don't dedicate that much brain space to something they can take or leave, but addicts do. Because for us, it was never just about the substance. It was about the escape, the relief, the solution to everything uncomfortable. And your brain remembers that. So if you're still thinking about it this much, you already have your answer about whether you can drink again. You can't. Because the very fact that you're still thinking about it this much proves that alcohol still has power over you. And you don't give power back to something that nearly destroyed you. So if you've been fantasizing, negotiating, or justifying, I want you to hear this. You don't need to test it to know the answer. You already know. The traits are still there, the patterns are still there, and alcohol will absolutely 100% light them back up. Your sobriety isn't about earning your way back to normal. It's about building a life where you don't need to escape. That's the work, not counting days like you're serving a sentence, but building self-awareness, catching the patterns, leading your intensity instead of numbing it. That's how you stay sober. That's how you stay you without the wreckage. And if you've reached that space that I was talking about, that space where you're just so tired of your own shit and ready to really get it together and make a change, book a free call with me. We can talk about where you're at, what's holding you back, and we can figure out what the next best step is for you. You can do that at addictionunlimited.com/call. That link is always in the show notes. And don't forget this Friday, a bonus drop from the Unlimited Life Starter Series, the 10 most powerful episodes to rebuild your rhythm, structure, and emotional peace. You guys are loving these episodes. I really appreciate all the DMs and positive feedback I'm getting. I love it when I get feedback about the topics that you like. It helps me understand what you want to learn more about. So thank you for all of the feedback in the Facebook group, and I'm getting tons of DMs on Instagram as well. I love you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you next week.
You've reached the end of another great episode of the Addiction Unlimited podcast. Candid and honest conversation about addiction and recovery. Be sure to visit us at addictionunlimited.com to join the conversation and access show notes and links to everything we talked about. Love this episode? Please take 30 seconds to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes to help us improve and give you the information you want. Thanks for listening. See you next week.